It's not what I saw, Beast, but what I felt. Phoenix's mind is becoming dominant. There is turmoil, frustration, anger, yet an excitement. Perhaps through Jean's body, the Phoenix is experiencing sensations she has never felt before. That may be why she refuses to leave.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of GospelX, the Gospel According to the X-Men. My name is Jonathan, and this is my friend Henry. And we're just so glad that you can join us today for another episode, which we will now be embarking on a saga called the Dark Phoenix Saga. And this is episode 1 of the Dark Phoenix Saga. As you can see in my background, I have the Dark Phoenix behind me. And without further ado, how about we'll just have Henry, how about you give us a scoop on a general overview of the first episode?
Well, basically, we jump right into a couple weeks after the Phoenix has been rediscovered by the X-Men. And she's been undergoing some treatments because literally the Phoenix Force is now possessing Jean Grey, and there's no way for them to actually get it out of her. So right now, the Professor Xavier says that he's been using his telepathic powers to kind of probe the Phoenix and ask her why she's still there. And what he feels is a lot of rage, a lot of frustration, but also a lot of excitement at experiencing something new. And so throughout the episode, we kind of see the Phoenix kind of take over Jean's mind and her thoughts, because the Phoenix wants to experience these things that a human person experiences for the first time. This is in contrast to when we first saw the Phoenix, which was an absolute good that was there, had a purpose to protect the Emcron crystal and to protect the universe. And now we're seeing a dark caused by basically a rampant desires, from the Phoenix. And then the Hellfire Club shows up. They go and send this dude to infiltrate Jean's mind and put her in an illusion so that they feel like they can trick her to be able to get the Phoenix to, go on their side. And it seems like at the end of the episode, they succeeded. And that's kind of where we got at. But let's focus a little bit on why the Phoenix is still here and why did it turn so dark.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? The Hellfire Club actually exploited the Phoenix's desires, right? Like first, like the Phoenix. Oh, let's just say let's give a gender to this Phoenix, okay? Let's say it's a she. All right. Wait. So yeah. So she initially, like you said, she was the protector of the Emcron crystal, and she was this absolute good power, right? That protected it and also saved the X-Men from annihilation, literally. And so we thought that hey, the Phoenix is quite good. And then suddenly she, takes over Jean Grey's body, and then she realizes that there's many of these desires and sensualities that she never felt before, right? And so, and then now, and then the Hellfire Club just realizes, hey, this is something to exploit. And so the Hellfire Club just basically kept on feeding the sensualities to her and saying that we could give you these things, right? We could continue to give you these things. And then the Phoenix just goes, yeah, I want more, I want more, I want more, right? And without probably she already realizes, but, she just wants all this stuff. So from being a really good entity to protect something, really have good intentions, really have this pure whatever, and was on this iconic pedestal of being the guardian, to now being this animal ravager, right? That wants more of something once it tasted it.
What changed though, right? Was it, let me float this idea. Was it because she lost her purpose? Her purpose was originally to protect the M-Quan crystal, right? So now that that's gone, does it mean that if force for good doesn't have a good purpose anymore, it just starts looking around for what?
You know what's interesting is probably just I wouldn't even go that route. I would go even simpler. I think she was just plain bored. Right?
You're trapped in a crystal for millions and millions of years, right?
Yeah.
You're free.
And then now you're bored, right? And you know what? It's interesting. You and I were discussing this in preparation for this. Is that so? How does it apply today then? Right? Do we see this type of thing happening even today? And I say we do. I'm not going to mention any names, but we know of many well-meaning, good Christian men, leaders, who were, icons of being this pedestal, these forefathers, these founding fathers of massive churches, these organizations that they have founded, et cetera, et cetera. And then suddenly this news bomb hits that, in their personal lives or in their darkest corners, they do stuff that is not as completely contrary to what the image that they have already purveyed, right? And then they fall like a rock, right? They just spiral down and go into rock. So what made them that? And a lot of times, what I know of and what I've been told and from books that I read is that when leaders like such as these become bored and they lose their sense of purpose, that sometimes something has already accomplished and they're just like, there's this word called idling, like a car that's idling. Mm-hmm. And so then if you've been idle for so long, you start to grasp anything that could entice your senses. And unfortunately for these good Christian men leaders, they fall into those temptations. And then suddenly they spiral downward, just like the phoenix.
Yeah, I guess there's a very stark parallel there where, any kind of force for good left alone to its own devices, could spiral down. Dark.
So in a Christian sense then, since, we're trying to provide a gospel perspective on this, is that, idle. Well, don't be idle. Like, I think Jesus said it best, keep working. My Father's working as we speak and I'm working, you should keep working, right? But also, don't be isolated. Don't find yourself in isolation. We're human beings who cannot be, no man's an island, right? That type of thing. And because once we're in isolation, once we're alone, that's when we find that we could be prone and open to all these sensualities that could, just grab hold of us and take us down with them. Right. Case in point, recently, our denomination experienced a well-known figure that is like a great apologist, well-known for apologetics. Everybody looks up to them. But then suddenly this news bomb hits about two of them, saying that, he lied about his credentials and, and then now, now that he's dead, right? All these women are coming out of the woodwork saying that, his massage parlors were, just an infestation of sexual assault. So where did that come from, right? And then I think it's because of just we're human beings and we're prone to all these sensualities, and that's how we could fall. Is that once sin hits, once there's temptations, and then if we find ourselves by ourselves, that's when we get ourselves into trouble, just like the phoenix.
Just like the phoenix. Right. So in the upcoming episodes, we see we'll see how far she actually falls and whether or not she actually gets out of that pit.
Yeah, and you know what? Without giving away any spoiler alerts, right at the end, we realize how important community is to resolve this whole thing, right? At the end, it's like when we say, the best solution is probably not to be in isolation. Well, guess what? The solution was to be in community, but that's for later.
We'll talk about
later. Another day. All right. Anything else you want to add, Henry?
No, I think we're good. This was a very good introduction to the Dark Phoenix.
And I'm certain that we have surprised many people on how we actually turned that into something to talk about. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us with another episode of Gospel X, the Gospel According to X-Men. My name is Jonathan. This is Henry. And we're just so thankful that you can join us tonight as we discuss episode 1 of Dark Phoenix. Till next time, when we embark on episode 2, have a blessed week.